job.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I call the meeting of the Franklin School Board to order. It is 6:06. This meeting's being held on April 18th, 2024 at the Franklin High School cafeteria. The Franklin School Board did hold a non-public session this evening at 5:30. And if we could now stand for the salute of the flag, please.
Told you you'll be home soon.
Yeah. Colleen, was the meeting posted as is required?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, public participation. During public participation, anybody who wishes to address the school board may do so. I ask that you please keep your comments to 3 minutes, and I give no more than 30 minutes to this session. If for some reason we run over the 30 minutes and I need to close the session, we do hold another public participation under agenda item 11, in which we'll finish up public participation. When addressing the school board, I would just ask that you please just state your name and what ward you live in. Is there anybody tonight who would wish to address the school board? Seeing none, I will close that portion of my meeting. Recognitions. Is there any recognitions to be brought before the board?
I want to recognize whoever had organized the Hampshire Fair Funding, School Funding Fairness people to attend. I appreciate that, and I was happy to see 56 people in attendance at that meeting. So thank you for doing that, whoever did it.
Any other recognitions? All right, seeing none, I'll close that portion of my meeting. Zoe Nagel did reach out. She's unable to be here tonight to do her student representative report. She has rehearsal for Mean Girls, which is the next play that's coming up, and it's only 2 weeks away, so she really needs to make sure she attends these. So she did reach out to me, so we will have our report go back on next month. All right, agenda item 7 is the approval of prior board minutes. So we need the approval of our public meeting on March 25th, 2024, and we also need approval on our non-public of March 25th, 2024. So I'll take motions on each of those separately, please.
I'll move that we accept the minutes, the public minutes for March 25th.
Okay, motion been made by Jane to accept the minutes of March 25th, our public meeting, and do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Marie. Any discussion?
There's one section, I can't remember what section it was. That Swiss data I was referring to in my safety update, it's SWIS.
S, not two S's.
Correct.
Not like the country.
Correct. So,
Okay.
and I think that appears twice.
Thank you.
Yes.
So those corrections will be made. All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes with the corrections, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Yes.
One abstention by Leanne. The minutes pass. Now I'll take a motion on the non-public.
I make a motion to accept the non-public with amendments of March 25th, 2024.
Okay, motion been made to accept the non-public with corrections for March 25th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Delaney. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. One abstention, I'm sorry, Leanne.
I'll make a motion to make the March 25th non-public meeting minutes
Motion's been made to unseal the non-public and make them public minutes for March 25th, 2024 by Deb. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Marie. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and those minutes for March 25th are unsealed. All right, with no objections, I'd like to move the policy agenda item 9 above and make that agenda item 8, and make new business agenda item 9, because there is a policy that we are gonna need to do before Superintendent Legall makes his report. Is there any objections to that?
No.
All right, so seeing no objection, I'm gonna move agenda item 8, well now, or 9 is gonna move up to 8, 8's gonna move down to 9. Also, we need to make one amendment on this on our agenda. Under the policy, it should be second reads. This should be second reads that we're doing. Okay, so I just need to make sure everybody's aware of that. All right. So in these second read policies, our second read is for our second read and approval. This is an opportunity for you to ask any questions you may have, any changes we may need, or if you recommend that the policy be referred back to the policy committee for further review or changes. Okay? So we'll start out, I want the second reading and approval is, the first one is policy KCD, which is our public gift donations. We also have policy IJOA, which is field trips and excursions. And policy BA, which is school board self-evaluation and goal setting. All right, so anybody want to make a motion to accept those policies for second reading? Or is there any discussion we'd like to have on them?
I think you have to have a motion and a
I
second
thought
in
so,
order
too.
to discuss it,
Right,
so.
I was just waiting to
So
move
moved.
forward. So moved by Jane, do I have a second? Second by Delaney. All right, now we're open for discussion.
Any of them?
Yes.
I have a comment on the public gifts, KCD policy. We've given the superintendent up to $5,000 to accept gifts, but then it jumps to 20,000.
in terms of the hearing part,
Yeah, and that's an awful wide, because in another section, it only says 10,000. And I can't remember if it was this, because my notes are at home, I'm on my computer. So I had a little concern about that, and that it doesn't say up to an amount, like for the 5,000 in the fourth paragraph, 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph. Of this policy in the amount of 5,000 or less. I think it should read up to 5,000, not or less. And then gifts in excess of 5,000 would be accepted by the board, but then the gifts in the amount of 20,000 or more shall require to go to the city council. And that's a huge separation from 5,000 to 20,000 to have to go to the city council. And I'm wondering what everybody's thoughts are on that large span.
Legally, at 20,000, you have to have the city. That's why the span's there, Deb, because that's what the law is. The 20,000 is from law.
Okay,
So you guys set the 5,000, you could have set that at 18,000 if you wanted to. So the board sets the superintendent's limit, that's set by board.
right, and that
So
was
there's no
up to-
RSA that drives that, but the 20,000 is set by law. the city, you have to bring anything of $20,000 or more to the city. That's why it's in there that way.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
Yeah, it does, but shouldn't there be a clause then in there from $5,001 to $19,999 that is under the board's preview? Because then it wouldn't have to go to the city council until it hit that 20,000.
I think it's in there, it's just the way it's worded.
yeah, that's how I read it, but
Gifts in excess of 5,000 may only be accepted by the board.
But it doesn't give us a limit.
Yeah, it says gifts less than 20,000, the board will post notice of the gift and the agenda. It's just worded weird.
Yes, yeah, because I originally read it that way as well.
so if you had an $18,000 gift, you as a board can accept that, and we don't have to go to the city with a car and a resolution. But anything 20,000 or more by law has to go to the city and do the public hearing and the whole rigmarole, as they say. That's why it's that way.
We could clear it up, but once we start messing with some of that language, it's already been vetted.
No, I was just, I was confused.
I agree with you, it could be written clear.
confused by it.
Was Liz able to come tonight?
No, she was not.
Okay.
But we followed it, when we did the policy on this, we followed by the description of the law, okay, of what the law said. Some of the view on the discrepancy or more towards the superintendent was so that he could accept the gifts and not have to wait until maybe a school board meeting and just, make the board aware of it, that he received this gift for $19,999, let's say, okay? And that way there, when someone comes with that kind of generosity, sometimes, you like to accept it right away instead of having to say, well, I need to wait for my board to approve it, So we looked at that as a policy committee of, this would give the opportunity. The superintendent has always made us aware of any gifts or donations that have ever been given to the school board, okay? So, it's not something that, we would not be made aware of. But it just gives him a little bit more leeway if someone wanted to give a gift that's over the 5,000, that it's not a prolonged period of time they have to wait. We can accept that gift and move forward. Any other questions on that?
Not that policy.
All right.
On that one.
Jack, did you have any other questions?
Not on that one.
Okay, you on field trips and excursions, or?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Jack.
On sorry, thank you. On IJOA, I think I wanted to add language after the new addition, chaperones to student ratio shall not exceed 1 to 10 without, I can't remember what I asked for, without approval by the board, or exceptions to this may be made by the superintendent, or I
We
can't
did have
remember.
discussion on that too, Dan. I just don't remember the exact of what we discussed when we had our policy meeting.
You're talking about a waiver?
Marie, do you remember what we,
Essentially,
there for-
it just
with
gives
us
us a
on
little
policy?
freedom, because otherwise,
Yeah,
we have to
when it
stick
dealt
with
with
that.
field trips and excursions, the 1 to 10?
yeah, 1 to 10 was what we decided, that we didn't want any more than 10 students per chaperone. And I think Jack I remember vaguely, well, I don't remember exact wording either, but I do remember you
I thought,
mentioning it, and I understood the reason, it's like special exceptions can be,
Mhm.
so we weren't limited, we weren't mandated that we had to have, because there might be situations where,
Right.
You may have one kid over. Is that what you mean?
I
Something
think
like
that's
that,
what he was
yes.
talking about, yeah.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't be willy-nilly, but
Yeah.
without authorization from the superintendent or something like that, I can't remember what it was. But, because otherwise, we have to adhere to this no matter what. And if that's the case, if that's what the board wants, then that's fine. I just think that sometimes it may be a little tough to adhere to that.
Well, we also do walking field trips all around the city. So if you consider that a field trip,
But,
you might have the teacher at the high school with 15 or 17 kids walking downtown.
maybe-
This policy would prevent that, and I don't think that's what you're trying to do here. So you're right, Jack, we should add something in there about,
No, I think the concern Liz had was going on a trip like Washington DC with middle schoolers and having too many kids and not enough chaperones, and,
Yeah.
which I totally understand.
So maybe we're saying something to the effect, shall not exceed 1 to 10 without written authorization by the superintendent, something like that, maybe covers it?
Yeah.
Which gives us
Yeah.
some leeway.
And we'll,
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
we
so.
can express our concerns once a trip is approved. And
Right.
if
Yeah.
it's a trip.
I just wanna be clear, we're not talking about walking field trips and that kind of thing. We're talking about going somewhere, like, you know, on a bus, plane.
Well, it
that-
would apply to a field trip if you're walking, because, I mean, if you've got the kids as a group, and, you know, one teacher, 15 to 18 kids, you need a second adult there.
According to this.
Right, according to the policy. So would you want one chaperone, a teacher with 15 or 18 kids walking the streets?
At the high school, I would, because we have high school kids that walk up the street to Cap on their own all day long. So it's,
But they don't have a chaperone to do that.
no,
They just go.
right.
That's different from,
It's a blanket policy, it doesn't signify the age group. Like, they could be
Right.
talking about Paul Smith
Right.
kids in this policy.
right. I mean, a field trip is a field trip. Going to your CAP is not a field trip, but they're going to class.
Yeah.
Basically. So there is a difference to me in that.
But I also don't wanna subject, because we have some of our students that go up to town, let's say they are going up to learn about business, and they go to one of the businesses,
Mhm.
okay? We are an open campus and a learn anywhere education.
Yeah.
Okay? So if a class goes to a business on the downtown, because they're doing a business or a math class on it or whatever, okay, and there's 15 kids in that class, there's only gonna be one teacher, and I don't, you know, most of the, you know, they're gonna walk from here to the downtown
Yeah.
and back, and I don't wanna handcuff us on that either, because we have the open enrollment or the open campus.
I would
But by
challenge that
adding-
that's a field trip.
Huh?
If that's a class curriculum, it's built into the curriculum of that class,
Right.
is that a field trip?
No, it isn't,
Well, in that, you're leaving campus, right?
but we have an open campus.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Can we just refer this back to policy for?
Yes, please.
For some more?
Can I add one, please?
And
I would put parent or guardian, not just parent, the end of the first paragraph.
And as far as my comment would be under the, any overnight or out-of-state field trips must be approved by the board. I think if they're day trips that are out of state, that the superintendent should be able to, approve those and not have to come to the board. Because it's gonna be based on curriculum, that they're gonna be going to a, you know, for an event. Any overnight, yes, I think those should go to the board, but as far as state, out of state for day trip, that if they're going to Boston to the Red Sox game or something, they're gonna be coming back that night, I don't think it's important that the board be the one to approve that, but that's just my opinion.
What was your original motion, Deb?
To add, give the superintendent the authorization to do day trips out of state.
Sorry, your original motion on all the policies, was it to approve all of them?
No, I didn't,
Yes. It was, right? Yes.
So that
And
we
then
can
we have
have
discussion, and you can amend and
Right.
send that this
Right.
policy
Right,
back
that's
to.
what I was gonna do.
Yeah, you can do
Uh,
that.
So,
so let's do, is there anything on the other one before we make?
Because this is all open discussion on all three, so if we
Right.
wanna, does anybody have any discussion on school board self-evaluation or goal setting?
Look at that.
I guess my only question is, how do you handle a quorum on a retreat?
You post it. You post it as a non-meeting, yeah.
Any other discussion? All right, now is when the time that, if anybody wants to make the motion on the field trips, you can. You can make an amendment, or you can just recommend that it be referred, you don't even have to make a recommendation, you can just
trying to figure out.
You don't need a motion, you can recommend it that it goes back to the policy committee, as long as the consensus of the board agrees it goes back then.
We need to amend the motion to
Right.
take that one out of.
Right, out of the
not approve that
approval.
part of the,
I'll make a motion to remove KCD, is that what it was?
But it's amendment though,
I would amend,
they're amending it.
I make a motion to amend IJOA by taking it out of the approval
Okay,
and
so
send it back to policy.
So amendment's been made to remove policy IJOA, which is our field trip and excursions, and refer it back to policy. Do I have a second?
second.
Second by Delaney. Any further discussion?
On the amendment?
Yeah. Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm opposed to it.
Me too.
Abstentions? One
I'm not sure what I think about it right now, so I
Okay,
don't wanna.
yeah, no, that's fine, yeah, that's fine with you, that's good. So one abstention, okay, but the motion passes. So we'll go back to the original motion with the amendment, it's already passed, so we just have KCD, which is our public gift donations, and we have BA, which is our school board self-evaluation goal setting. Motion and a second was on that. Is there any further discussion on those two policies? Seeing none, all in favor of second reading and approval, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and those two policies are passed as second reading and approval. All right, and now we'll go on to our new business, which is with our superintendent.
All right, thank you. So I have some really good news. We have received the Pat Connerton grant to renovate our high school gymnasium. We are the first school outside of the state of Wisconsin to receive that grant. Pat Connerton is affiliated with the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're pretty excited about that. Danny Sylvester's here with us tonight to talk a little bit about that, what that entails, and some other ways we want to fund the rest of the project to do this right, so we can revitalize Franklin High School gym and host volleyball and basketball games back here at Franklin High School, which we have not done in a very, very long time.
And wrestling.
And wrestling, too, because we have wrestling back. Thank you, Tim. So Danny, if you want to just talk a little bit about the grant?
Sure, absolutely. Be pleased to. And also, on top of the athletic events, we'd like to host a lot of community events back at the high school as well. We kind of gravitate to the middle school for the obvious reason. It's a nice gymnasium. But as far as athletic events go for high school teams, it's not the high school. It's not our high school gymnasium. So it's kind of a melodramatic place for our athletes. We don't have our trophies up there. Yeah, we have banners, because that's easy to bring up there and just hang on walls, but it's still just not home to the Franklin High School Golden Tornadoes. It hasn't been for over 30 years. We were forced to play a couple of basketball games here, I think 2 winters ago, because we had some water damage at the middle school. And because this court is, believe it or not, and even to my surprise, the actual playing surface, the square footage is the same size as the middle school gym. It's just the outside of it, the bleacher space, all that extra space around just gives an optical illusion that it's a much bigger playing surface. It's a much bigger area, absolutely, which everybody would want. So that being said, we had to force a couple of games in here, but we had to replace the rims. My wife and I were in here on a Sunday putting up new rims and new nets just so we could play a couple of games. We got done what we needed, but we had no fans. We do not have the bleacher space in the outside area of those out-of-bounds lines on any part of the court so we could have fans. Parents weren't real happy. One of the games, believe it or not, was our senior night, so we did allow the senior parents to come in, and we kind of shoved them in and some chairs and stuff, but it was just not conducive to what we're trying to do. So, hence now, I get a lead on a grant from a grandmother who has some kids that are still in school, has some grandkids in school. Her nephew works for the Pat Connaughton Foundation. Pat Connaughton is from Arlington, Mass., so he's a New England guy. Has played for a couple of different NBA teams, but right now plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, so he's out of Wisconsin. So she got me in touch with him. Long story short, going back and forth, we did get a grant accepted for $117,000. What we're looking to do, we keep using the word essentials every time we meet. Like, what is the essentials that we need to start playing games back in this gym? Redoing the whole court, whole refurbish of it. The initial quote we got back to take the court up completely, replace it with nice new stuff, logos, all bleachers around, paint, new baskets all the way around, the two main ones, the four sides, everything totaled was about $700,000. So right away, we were like, yeah, time out, we can't do that. So we use the word essentials. What are the essentials that we need? And that is obviously refurbishing the court with all the new logos and whatnot, paint on all the walls, two brand new baskets, just for the main baskets, not the sides ones. Those are fine, we can deal with that. Then the biggest problem comes up, and that's easy. These companies can come in and do that stuff within a few weeks or to a month. They can replace a court. But our problem, again, is our bleacher space. We have a very short bleacher section on one side, two sections. There are only 3 rows. We can fit comfortably about 110 people on that side of the court. On the other side, we have 2 decent-sized bleacher sections, but when you take them all the way out, they come well over the sidelines of the basketball court. That's why we couldn't have people in, because we sat the kids on the short bleacher side, and you don't want people sitting like literally right behind players. That just doesn't happen, and you don't want that. The other side, we had to keep the bleachers in because they came over the lines. So unfortunately, in order to do this, one of the essentials is we need more bleacher space. Bleachers are the most expensive thing that you're gonna look at with this. They're just to move a set of bleachers and have them reset stuff in is crazy money, never mind buy new bleachers. So unfortunately, in order to make this work, one of the essentials is we would need the stage area. We would have to take the stage out, demolish it, remove it, take one of our bleachers that we have to save a lot of money, that would roll, believe it or not, right into that stage area. So all that stuff gets us to play games here. We can now fit a student section, which we want to separate students at basketball games. That's kind of what you see now at most gymnasiums and high schools, is they have a student section, home section, and a visitor section, and that's what we want to do here. So we'll sit the students, that's going to fit roughly 80 to 85 comfortably, which is more than enough for that stage area. That gets us the essentials. And we're talking about a little less than $170,000 total to do these essentials, about 166 and change. The grant will cover 117,000 of it, so it's a good portion of it. The only other thing I missed was 2 new scoreboards. We definitely would need 2 scoreboards, 1 for each wall. That, believe it or not, isn't a huge ticket item. It's a little less than $14,000, and I believe I can get a business or 2 to sponsor those, because that's a lifetime advertising thing for them. So that's what we're looking at. Very excited about it. Like I said, the other non-essentials that we're thinking of doing, to me as an athletic director, I feel they're essentials, but I get it. They're really not. Trophy cases before you go into the gym on the walls. We've never had one set of trophy cases here. We've got trophies all over the place. That and I believe that was it for the non-essentials. Oh, and possibly bringing in 2 new bleacher sets, take out the big bleachers. We're already taking one of them out and putting it in the stage area, the empty stage area. The other big section is gonna still be there. We still need to make sure we're taking care of assemblies, winter carnival events, homecoming events. We're trying to appease everybody in the community, all sports, all students, because it should be. Gymnasiums do that. And we want to make sure that we're meeting everybody's needs when it comes to that. So what we would like to do is take the other large set of bleachers out, get them out of there, and bring in 2 new sections of just the 3-row bleachers. Again, that's going to be, bleachers are expensive. But again, that's a non-essential at this point. So we're hoping to get it done so we can get some activity back in the gymnasium, even during the day with PE classes, and it's gonna get lots of usage, basically, so.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
About the volleyball. You have.
Yes, my
the-
bad, yeah, go ahead.
Well, you know, you've got will you have new posts?
Yeah, we would
and
have,
all- Is that
absolutely.
included in this
That's
or
yes,
not?
it is, no, absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
that's an essential. So when they redo the court, and put all the logos and everything, they're gonna put, believe it or not, 3 sets of, the game set, where it goes across the court, like at every court, where you still have the bleachers on the sides. Of course, we'll have the stage bleachers now too, but you'll have the 2 new holes put in the
Okay.
floor, brand new volleyball stuff. We'll also have 2 more of those going this way.
Yep.
So we could use those for
On
PE
each,
classes, winter carnival, so on and so forth. So absolutely, that's part of it. That
And
is,
will there be a like a screen divider, so that when you're having 2 classes going on?
we have a curtain now.
Okay.
It's, might be the original curtain,
Oh,
back in
okay, I was gonna
1940.
say.
It looks like it is. That's coming down. That was also a very large expense to put it on as an essential. And from my experience, we do not need a divider curtain
Okay.
at all. There's not a necessity to have one for any reason.
Because you gotta have a fire retardant and all that stuff, which is very expensive.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
We never use the one that's there. I mean, yeah, it's bad and it's in bad shape, but it's usable, but we don't use it for anything.
Is that one fire retardant? I mean, if it's that old?
I don't know. That I don't know, but it's bad.
Does
Okay.
anybody have any questions for Danny?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What is the proposal for getting the rest of the funding from the 117 to the 170?
That's the agenda item 2.
That's the next item.
Yeah.
They won't get right into that after. No, that's okay.
There are a couple of caveats with the foundation that we put Pat Connaughton's signature on the court, hey, for 117 grand, absolutely yes. And a couple other stipulations that are very simple things, that we advertise the heck out of this, and whatnot, stuff that absolutely we're gonna do if they're giving us 117,000 to redo the court. And again, that's painting the walls, painting the ceilings, all the door jambs, the door windows, that's all part of it. Last thing I guess I can say is, because I know it's a policy of ours, we were in a real hurry. We had to get this grant application done by the first of the year initially. They did give us a window, a little bit longer, because by the time we got on this, Dan Clark was kind of in charge of getting a construction company, or professionals that do gymnasium floors to come in, and we basically got one in a hurry. And that was Construction Services of New Hampshire, CSNH, and Dennis Cloutier came up, and we at least got a quote so we could get the application done, so we had an idea of what we were looking at, and that's kind of what started it. In the recent communications, I found out that we needed a couple more quotes by policy, which is fine. That's more than understandable. So I've met with 5 different people in 3 different companies. So it kind of went from Dan being in charge of getting that first people in to me kind of taking care of it from there. But I did have New England Sports Floors come in, which they are the most popular or prominent gymnasium floor restoration, new construction company in New England, basically. When I did a survey back when we first started talking about this before Christmas vacation to a bunch of the ADs in New Hampshire, and 3 out of every 4 has dealt with New England sports floors before. So I finally had him get in about a week and a half ago. I was hoping to have the numbers to Dan tonight for that. He did say he probably could do it, but I didn't get any. And then gymnasium floors, which Deb, you had recommended, because they're looking at doing something for another school that you're familiar with. They bowed out today. It's just too much for them. They'll do the floor. They would do all that, but this stage thing is different for people. It's not a normal situation. So that did add, something to this that is difficult for a lot of people. So he just didn't feel comfortable quoting out the whole thing. So he did back out just before the meeting, so. But that's what I have, and we're
And then
excited about it, and
Pat Clark, when we had this meeting with the team and everything, Pat Clark does a basketball clinic, where he went to school down in Devers, Mass.
Arlington.
Arlington, Mass, okay.
Mhm.
He goes back every year, so they're gonna see if he's back at the same time we may have, that we do our ribbon
Ribbon cutting.
cutting ceremony, and try to see if he may be willing to come up and be here for it, so that is the discussion we had with him, so no guarantees, but they're gonna see what they can do, but someone from his organization will definitely be here when we do the ribbon cutting.
Yeah, they wanna see lots of community events. Obviously, the first interest is basketball. The caveat to get the grant was, you need to play your basketball games there now. And unfortunately, the only way for us to do that, to get more bleacher space, was take the stage out. But we went to the proper people right away. Jewel Finley was the first one we went to. She is not sad to see the stage go. It is not conducive. Jack could probably chime in. She said the acoustics in the gymnasium are the worst around. She has no use for the stage, so on and so forth.
Any other questions? All right, so what we need to do now is we just need to accept the grant, we need to approve the grant. Dan, what was the exact amount again? Is it 117?
117 flat, yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the Pat Covington, Carrington,
Conington.
grant.
Conington,
Conington,
yeah.
I don't have my glasses.
That's okay.
The amount of $117,000.
A motion been made to accept the grant in the amount of $117,000. Do I have a second? Second by Lori. Any further discussion?
So does this tie us, because there's no plan. I don't mind accepting the grant, but I don't know what we're doing. I know he sort of explained it, but usually there's like what it looks like, the layout, like, I know we're ripping out the stage. I don't know, I think you have estimations of what the rest of the project's going to be, but there's no like details of the full project, full scale of it. So I know this is just on the motion to accept the grant, which is fine. I don't know when that discussion's gonna happen about the rest of the, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the intent, I'm assuming, is to have it done during the summer. And in order to do that, would you have plans in May?
No, it wouldn't be, because school doesn't end until mid to almost late June, so we need to make sure school is out. So we're looking at optimally a July 1st start date for construction, and at the latest, a finish date by like August 16th.
Yeah,
Would be
but
comfortable.
I understand that, but do you have a physical design of the changes and, you know, like taking out the bleachers, you know, what the project's gonna look like in a, I'll say 3D?
No, I haven't been given any of that by the companies, but I think we need to make a decision on which company we're gonna go with, and then we can get all those details. It's just all in writing, but there's been no graphics.
You have a plan for your vision of what you want to do, you just don't have a visual representation of that from the company.
I only have a plan for contingencies in case it goes above and beyond the scope of the project. So if we're gonna cap it at $170,000, if that's for the essentials, what if they run into something? What if there's asbestos and there's an abatement that needs to happen, like all of those things? Because I'm afraid of some of those things, this is an old building. So I just wanna make sure we've got the contingencies set so they can finish the project once they start, and we're not allocating additional funds that we don't have or we're not aware of. I know that we can, if we need to, but I just was looking for the whole thing.
As far as I understand, because they did ask about some of that stuff, the couple of people that I spoke to. As far as I understand, all the asbestos in this building was removed back in, when we did the $1 million project to get all of the new air flow filters, actually the original gym floor was taken up at that time, and this new parquet stuff was put in, because they had to get rid of the asbestos underneath that gym floor. So as far as I know, all that was done for $1 million back in somewhere around the mid to late 90s, if I can remember correctly. I wasn't here on staff yet, but.
We, unfortunately, one of my schools thought the same thing until they found some. They said it was all gone.
And you're right, you're talking about hearing this, I'm not disagreeing, it's a stage that's been there, like I said, probably since the inception of the school, since the original construction back in 1940, 41. And there are those questions, especially around that stage area, because you have the frame. So yes, there's more work to be done on that, yes.
So we're gonna grant, I don't have any further questions.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the grant, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and the motion passes 8-0.
I apologize that I.
No, I know you gotta go, Deb.
Thank you,
I see
Deb.
another one. Thank you, Deb.
Okay, next item was funding sources for the rest of the project that Danny was just describing to all of you. So we have three sources of funds that we want to use or explore using and get board approval to move forward with. The first is we have the Toby Trust. The Toby Trust is a fund that we have that supports students in the Franklin school districts. We currently have $47,000 in that trust. We usually get about $7,000, $7,000 to $8,000 every year put into that trust. And we have used it at times to support different things for students. So we could use as much of that as we wanted to use. We're thinking about $25,000 of the Toby Trust to support this project, but could use up to $47,000 if necessary. Because certainly it would support every child in Franklin, because every child in Franklin will go through the Franklin High School and use that gym for all kinds of different things, for sure. Second funding piece we want to explore is we have class accounts for graduating classes that go back quite a ways. And what we want to do is to contact the class officers from those classes and see if they will gift the remaining funds in their class accounts, which they haven't touched for a long, long time, towards this project. And then the third piece is we want to start a GoFundMe campaign, which we would need board approval to do that. So I'm looking for approval to do that tonight, where we would solicit alumni, businesses. We think there will be a lot of traction on this if we put it out there, and because we believe a lot of people will want to see this happen, so that Franklin High School Gymnasium can be a place of pride and support for not just the school but the community. You know, all those alumni that had to go to the middle school for 30 years, I think will get behind this, and we know the businesses in town, and you know, certainly Franklin Savings Bank has been a wonderful donor. So between those three options, we do not anticipate having any issues raising the $50,000 that we need. Worst case scenario would be we would want to use $47,000 from Toby Trust if we didn't get a dime from anything else, which we know is not going to happen. So we're not looking at using taxpayers' money to fund this. We know that we need these alternative methods to fund it, and that's what I'm looking for us. So tonight, really what I need is approval to start a GoFundMe campaign so that we can get this thing kicked off and start raising money for this project.
Do you have a goal set for the GoFundMe campaign? Like, what's the amount you want to raise through GoFundMe?
Based on the numbers that I have in my report, I would want to raise $15,000. But to be honest, I think I'll raise more than that for this project fairly quickly. This is the 100th year of the Class Day Parade. There will be 350-something alumni in the parade this year, and we have alumni coming from all over the country. So I'm not overly concerned about the alumni getting behind this kind of a project for us this summer. And I will have easy access to many alumni on June 13th and that weekend to promote this as well, so.
So that's the target,
15,000, yeah.
but I mean, is that who you're gonna ask, is that where you're gonna,
We're gonna ask everybody we can get the word out to, so
Okay.
businesses, family, community members, the whole 9 yards. But to me, it's the alumni, I think, that we can get behind, that would wanna see this happen.
In the GoFundMe would be set up as a gym, as the Franklin High School gym renovations. So if you go above that, you know, that those funds would have to be used because it's specific for it. So you can't use it for whatever you want. So when you do the GoFundMe page, you have to clarify what's in there. if you don't use those funds, you'll, by law, you have to send them back to the donors. Okay, you have to give that money back to the donors. But Danny, like he said, there's other things that were non-essential that we could use those fundings through the GoFundMe to make it so we were able to get them, to even improve it more. So, I mean, capping it at 15, you know, it could, I don't have a problem with it, but it could also go both ways where, you know, someone wants to give more or what, you know, however they wanna do it. Or if we get a large slew of people that go onto the GoFundMe and within 24 hours you have it, but other people may wanna still donate to it for the gym renovations.
Do you have any idea how much money is in the class accounts that they might be?
I'm shooting for 10,000 based on the accounts and the information I have. I'm targeting $10,000 from those accounts.
Okay.
Would it be possible to also set up an account for people to give donations to through our business office?
Tell me more.
So if somebody wanted to give $100, and put it in the high school gym renovation account to be used explicitly for this purpose, then we wouldn't lose the 2.9% from the GoFundMe campaigns for each donation. So they could give a straight one. Some of the older generations, may not be in GoFundMe or registered in GoFundMe, and they could just give a donation, a flat donation to
Yeah.
the school.
So the answer to that would be, yeah, we could set that up as well.
Just set it up under a line item.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because then we would get the full 100% of the donation instead of the 2.9. And, I mean, I don't mind doing both, because I've seen both be successful, and I think we'd be appealing to more audiences for that. So I make a motion to approve a GoFundMe for
Right.
give authorization to the superintendent to set up a GoFundMe for the new Franklin High School gym renovation.
Yep. Okay, so motion's been made for the superintendent to move forward with a GoFundMe campaign account for Franklin High School gym renovation, seconded by Delaney.
I'd like to see us at the goal of over 2,000 for the GoFundMe. I think 15 is probably low, and
Yeah, I'm
if
not
you
looking to limit it.
set
I'll take as much as anybody
but
wants to go.
you set a high public goal to, encourage, greater donation, and then if we want to put extra money, we can hit some of those not necessary things, but the things that we'd like to do.
Seconded by Delaney. Is there any further discussion?
Is with GoFundMe, if we don't hit our mark, we don't get it. Is that correct? One of them is
No,
that way.
that's not true, no. You get what's donated,
Right.
regardless of what your goal is.
Or maybe it's Kickstarter.
That would make more sense.
Maybe it's Kickstarter.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, the motion passes.
Okay, great, thank you, everybody. We'll get moving on that.
If I could just add one more thing that I forgot to mention, I think it's important, to make sure that we're trying to meet the needs of a lot of different people with this project. Once we move that bleacher section into the empty stage area, that section of bleachers will still be able to be pushed in, so it opens up that space again. That empty stage area, even though it's not elevated anymore, there's still a good amount of space in there. The integrity of the stage itself will still be intact, so we can still use that space for that, like at homecoming for talent shows, lip syncs. We can put that basket up, that basket will be out of the way, so that space can still be used for entertainment purposes. Concerts, bands, whatever needs to be done, so.
So where are the bleachers going?
But so if you take the stage out, now you just got an empty floor where the stage used to be, right? We're gonna take those bleachers and push them in, so when the bleachers are out, we can sit roughly 80 people there. But, bleachers retract, so we're gonna be able to retract those bleachers back in when we're not using them if we want to, so it opens up that space again.
So people in the wouldn't necessarily see the perimeter of the gym, because those columns will still exist.
It's close, but the bleacher section isn't that big where it's gonna make that much of a difference. It's very possible the top row,
Because there's air exchangers on those, correct?
so
Are
those,
those gonna change, move, what are they gonna?
no, because those have to stay. Those need, plus that's just that much more work. The original construction quote at like almost 700 grand included taking out all that stuff and widening it and getting rid of the frame, and it's like, just a lot.
Are the stairs gonna remain there as well?
No, because remember, now you're gonna have, the floor's gonna be, the gym floor is gonna run right into where the stage used to be, so it's all gonna be one level.
So the egress is out the back on either side of the stage, are no longer gonna be there?
No, they are. Yeah,
Oh.
you mean the two,
I mean
yeah.
the stairs that go out and exit to the.
Oh, my bad, yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah, those will stay, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we won't use those as entrance doors, but we'll
Right.
use them as exit doors.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
No, thank
Thanks
you
for
guys, appreciate
The
it.
work on getting that grant for
A
us,
lot
too.
more work to do, but
Yep.
I'm willing to do it for sure for this. Exciting.
Great, Dan, you're all set to.
Okay, New Hampshire Hunger Solutions Candidate Forum. So we signed on with about 25 or 30 other organizations to be co-hosts for these candidate for governor events, which got our logo on the invitation, which was kind of cool. So really, there's no obligation for us to do anything. However, if anyone's interested in attending any of the four forums, I can get people registered and we can have people there. The forums are on May 9th, 10th, 13th, and 14th, and they're at 10 in the morning at the St. Anselm's College Institute for Politics. May 9th is Cindy Warmington. May 10th is Chuck Borse. May 13th is Kelly Ayotte. And May 14th is Joyce Craig. Those are the four major candidates for governor this year. So if people want to check calendars and just let me know, I'm more than happy to register anyone who's interested in attending any of the candidate forums. New Hampshire Hunger Solutions is vetting all the questions and running the whole event and facilitating that. And like I said, we don't have to have representation there, but if people are interested in it, we can do it, so.
As most of you know, this is something that we've all been passionate about, especially me, about with the food insecurity to our kids and school lunch programs and their cost. And I had recent meetings with the delegates in Washington DC, asking them to pass a bill on a universal lunch program. Hopefully that'll get some push going. I'm gonna try to attend these. When they reached out to me, I thought it was a wonderful thing to be able to put our school there, because this is something that we've all been passionate about with the school board. So I thought it was a wonderful thing, so I passed it right along to Dan. NHSBA is also signed on. So they reached out to me on that also. So I'm gonna try to make one of these hearings. I can't guarantee it because I just barely started back to work at my full-time job, so I'm gonna try to get a day off and go to one of these hearings. But anybody else, I mean, I just think it would be nice if we had someone there with every single one, there's four of them, for the representation. And then any questions, I think that closed already, Dan?
Questions are closed, yep, they're vetting questions that were submitted, so we're good there, but anybody's interested in going, just like I said, shoot me an email, let me know, and I'll get you registered. And
Do you know what the hours are?
They expect it to be about an hour long, kinda like a
What time of day?
10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, sorry, good question, Leanne, yeah, they start at 10, so it should be about an hour or so.
And I did send a question down through the board
Yep.
For here, ask the candidates if the governor candidates will support a universal lunch program also in the state of New Hampshire, so I had that question sent down to them. So, all right, so thank you, everyone. Anybody can make it, reach out to Dan. If more than one, it doesn't limit to
Oh, no, that's
one, so
fine, yeah.
whoever wants to go down, but if we could try to get representation every day. If we can't, I've asked Dan to reach out to me. I'm sure I can get a day off if need be. All right.
And I can step in as well if I need to. So. All right, thank you. Next one, anime lock-in has been canceled, so we don't need to worry about that. All right, nomination, so tonight I'd like to nominate to you art teacher Frank Charlo for the Franklin Middle School for school year 24-25.
Motion to approve the nomination of Frank Shaw.
Seconded.
Motion made by Jack to accept the nomination, second by Marie. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, the nomination is approved.
I would ask the board to accept the resignation with regret of Ally Reardon, grade 3 teacher at Paul Smith, effective the end of the school year, June 30th.
Motion to accept the resignation of Valerie and regret.
Second?
Okay, motion been made by Jack to accept the resignation of Ally Reardon with regret, second by Jane. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? What did you do, Jack?
No, I was a little late on the uptake, I apologize.
Okay.
I was in favor.
Abstentions? The ayes have it, and the motion passes.
Okay, just a couple quick announcements. Community Day Parade is Saturday, May 11th. It is tradition for school board members to walk in that parade. So if you are around on Saturday, May 11th, we gather about 9:30-ish here in the high school parking lot, and we walk the parade route for Community Day. So anybody that can participate in that, that would be great. We'll see you then. Class Day Parade, 100th, June 13th, 12:30. We had a nice committee meeting, our first one with about 10 of us. All kinds of great stuff being thought of and planned, so want to make sure you get that on your calendars. Once again, that's a parade that all board members are invited and welcome to walk in as well if you get the day off from work. And the budget presentation has been finalized, so it's going to be on Saturday, May 18th at the Elks Lodge at 9 in the morning for the school. So anybody that is interested in participating or sitting in on the school district budget presentation, May 18th, Elks Lodge, 9 in the morning. May 18th, Saturday, May 18th. There's a lot of Saturday stuff going on in May for us, so.
And that's again at 9.
That's at 9 o'clock. Yeah, we start at 9, and they're gonna do a marathon day all day long with all the departments, but the school goes first.
Welcome to budget season, man. And all you know, Dee is also sitting on the school day parade for the city, so.
I'm so excited.
So she is. She was really excited in the
I
meeting.
put it out there.
I signed up, I'm sitting on it to represent the school and the school board, so we have representation there also, so. All right, any other items for you, Dan?
I have a late item, but I'll wait till you get there.
Well, we're there.
We're there, late item. Okay, we have had 4 snow days this year, and I'm going on a limb that we won't have another one. So our calendar, which I passed out, we built 3 snow days in already, which takes us to Friday, June 21st. So rather than having all the kids and all the staff come in for a half-day Monday, last day of school, I am requesting that the board waive 1 school day for the kids and for the staff. I would want to still pay the staff. It would be a nice way of thanking the staff for all the great work that they've done. And we would let them all go home on Friday, the 21st, and not have to come back on the 24th. A lot of them works summer jobs and other things, and having to come back for that time.
Planning of
Vacations, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm looking for the board to do. I did put the calculations in there for the students to go by instructional hours, which is okay to do. We meet the instructional hours easily for our students at all 3 schools. So that's my plea to you to.
So would the 21st be an early release?
The 21st would be an early release, yep. Last day of school is always an early release.
June 21st would be.
What we're gonna update, so the last day is, this says Thursday, but it's really Friday. I'm looking at it, I got the wrong copy for you. Right now, we're on the 21st, and I don't wanna go to the 24th. And that double snow day that we had would take us to the 24th. And I just want to move us to the 21st.
Which was the original.
Does that make
date.
sense? Yeah, we haven't updated it because I wanted to talk to you first. So what I would like to do is only add one day to the 21st and not add 2 days and go to the 24th. And I have all kinds of people asking about when the last day of school is for events and all these other things. So that's why I said, let's wait till I talk to the board so we can plan our end-of-year events around when you set the last day of school.
So, go ahead, Leanne.
I was gonna make a motion that we have the last day of school as an early release on the 21st of June.
Second.
Okay, that's fine, but you need to put in there to waive one school day.
And waive one school day.
Thank you very much. So motion's been made to waive one school day and that.
And school students and teachers.
Yep, school teachers, everybody within the district, and the 21st will be a half a day, seconded by Jane. Any further discussion? See,
I'm just trying to confirm the calendar. So the last day for students would be the 21st?
21st?
It would be a half day,
Yes,
and then the staff would complete that day?
yes.
Okay. There used to be a caveat in the 185-day schedule that we had to provide them with a day after the students leave, but I don't see it in this contract.
Nope. We always have it half day, last day, so they can clean up and pack up for summer. Been doing it that way for a long time.
any other discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, the motion passes.
Could I add one more late item before we move to public comment? For the next agenda, could we add, setting the retreat, the summer retreat date?
Absolutely.
Yep.
That totally makes sense.
All right, any other lay items to be brought before the board? All right, seeing none, I'll move on to agenda item 11. Excuse me. This is my second public participation. Same as before, I ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. I give no more than 30 minutes for this portion of the meeting. And I, again, just ask that you state your name and what ward you represent. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to address the school board this evening? All right, seeing none, I close that portion. We do have a need for a non-public tonight, so I need a motion for us to go into non-public. So moved by Leanne, do I have a second? Second by Delaney. All right, I need a roll call vote.
Deb Brown?
She has gone home.
We have to say that matter.
It's under 91A3, paragraph 2, student matter. Yes,
Delaney Carrier,
Yes.
Lori Cass, Jane Cody,
Yes.
Marie Danforth,
Yes.
Tim Dow,
yes,
Ian Fifield, Jack Bickles.
Yes.
all right. We'll be going into non-public. We're gonna go into the SAU conference